Hi, this video is going to show you how to find the information you need to put together a works cited entry for a newspaper. So I've got my local hometown newspaper, the Prague Times-Herald, in front of you. And when you are photocopying the article, if you don't have the newspaper, you have to go to the library to use it. You have to get, like magazines, you need to get the cover, basically page 1, as well as then other pages where the article appears, because you're going to get the publication information right here on the front page. That doesn't mean that you won't sometimes see it, like right here we see the title as well as the date of publication on the actual other pages, but not all newspapers will have that. So again, you want to make sure that you're getting enough information so that you can cite it. Newspapers notoriously don't have authors for every piece. So again, if you get an article that has no author, you're just going to lead off with the title of the article. If you notice anything like an editor, you just ignore it. We don't cite editors for newspapers, excuse me. So I'm going to be using this article right here. So I do have an author, Sharon Maggard, so I'm going to use that. Then I'm going to follow that with the title of the newspaper article, Prague Hospital Dealing with COVID Cases. Now notice here dealing is lowercase, as well as cases is lowercase. In MLA title case, those would be capitalized. So when you're formatting your titles, you use MLA title case to capitalize. It doesn't matter how they're capitalized in the original. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the title of the newspaper. So I'm going to put the Prague Times-Herald. Because the name Prague is in the title, I don't have to identify the city of the newspaper. If you have a newspaper that is not a national newspaper like the New York Times or USA Today, but it's a local newspaper that does not have the place of publication in the title, then you have to add that after the title. And the Master Guide to MLA shows you how to do that. Then I'm going to use the date of publication. Now you see here that I've got a volume and number information as well as date. We ignore volume and number for newspapers. We only use dates unless all there is volume and number. So I'm going to grab 13 August 2020. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my location, which is the page number. Now with newspapers, you have to look at consecutive versus non-consecutive pagination. And the same might also apply to magazine articles. It doesn't apply as often, but it does occasionally, but it's very common in newspaper articles. That means that my article will start on one page and end on the other, but there'll be other information in between those two places, right? So we can see here, this is not the only article on page 1. And when I go to page 2, it's not the only article on page 2. So it's a little crazy. So I say for my works cited page, I would just say 1A plus, right, for my pagination. That means that it starts on 1A and it ends on another page, but there is stuff. Now, it goes to 2A, but again, the idea is that there are other articles in between there, right? Now, when I cite the quote, I'm going to actually cite the specific page number. So if you, let's say, start here and your quotation is this little last paragraph and it goes to the top here, you would still say 1A-2A. But when you're citing the page range, unless it's on one page, or it's the entire article is on one page and goes to the next page and there's nothing else between it, then you would do the consecutive, page 1-2. But again, if it goes like, sometimes it won't go to page 2, it'll go to page 3, right? So it's 1 plus. And again, notice this is 2A, it's just not page 2. You need to identify, that means that there's more than one section. There's a section A and there's a section B, and B probably starts back over with page 1. So you have to have the section letter or title. Sometimes you actually might even have a word like sports, right, instead of just a letter. Again, when it restarts the pagination, you have to identify the section so we know which section to go to, so we know which number 1, right? So that's how you do newspaper. Call me or email me if you need help.